focusing on the understaffing and this private entity. I wonder if your staff specifically researched whether in Canada or in Great Britain they have looked at the understaffing problem, or if they have explored understaffing in relation to people not wanting to go to these tough, expensive areas like we've heard is a problem in the U.S. Have y'all specifically studied that?
No, when we looked at...
Okay, thank you. Now I have another question. This question is directed to Ms. Bristol and Mr. Rinaldi. And it's related to staffing, but it's more about the equipment and the ongoing efforts by the FAA to modernize the control towers. Last week, there was an article in the AP. It ran across the country and including in my district in Las Vegas. And the article was entitled, Union, New Airport Towers Must Be Remodeled Before Opening. In the article, Mr. Rinaldi, you specifically identified the new control tower in Las Vegas, saying it requires an overhaul before it can be operational. I reached out to our local controllers, our safety engineers, and the FAA because I'm concerned that this overdue project's now going to have to be delayed even further due to a failure by the FAA. And I'm also worried that people around the country are going to read that there might be a problem flying in to Las Vegas and not want to come there, and we certainly can't have that. So what I learned is that our controllers there were given a role and a responsibility in designing the system that's in place, and the tower in Las Vegas can operate with both the paper flight strips and an electronic system once it's chosen and to be put in place. Now, I know there's a prototype that's being tested now. I think it's in Cleveland and in Phoenix, and y'all are going to make that decision this summer. There may be concerns about that electronic system, that prototype, but I would ask Mr. Rinaldi if maybe this got framed in the wrong light in that article that has been known to happen by the press. I want to be able to figure out what's happening with our tower and reassure our potential visitors. And then, Ms. Bristol, I'd like to ask you to weigh in. I know we've had a lot of problems with NextGen, but I want to know kind of what the plan is with this tower prototype, because I think your comment to the press was, well, we'll figure out what we need to do. That's not very reassuring. So could the two of you address that article and let me know what's going on?
Sure. Thank you, Congresswoman. I'll go first. And as you can imagine, someone has been in the press as much as you. Sometimes your statement gets twisted and misconstrued. What I was talking about on a panel was two brand new facilities. Actually, we had an idea of bringing the prototype to those two facilities and be a 100% electronic flight strip like the rest of the world is. But we have brand new facilities, and the prototype that we've been working in Phoenix and in Cleveland, we have jointly made a decision that it's just not stable enough to bring it into a new facility. I then went on to talk about San Francisco Tower that went with very small counter spaces because it is a smaller tower cab than Las Vegas, and that they would need bigger counter spaces to put printers in and strip bays in. Now in Las Vegas, they have made that accommodation. So really it was about San Francisco Tower, which is coming on roughly the same time as Las Vegas Tower is also. The challenge in Las Vegas Tower is that they did something very dynamic, and we support tremendously, is actually put the controllers that will work the airplanes in the air a little higher, a few steps up than the controllers working the ground view, so they can actually see straight down. So there's going to be a lot of movement with the controllers to hand strips back and forth, as opposed to being able to have an electronic flight strip program where the controllers would never have to leave their position to move the control of that airplane. That's kind of what I was capturing. Yes, it did get lost in that. It's not going to delay the opening of Las Vegas Tower, but it is a challenge that the workforce is going to have to move paper strips around when we have this beautiful brand new facility and we should have the most modern equipment. That's my biggest concern.
So it's not going to be delayed, no. And it's not a problem of safety for people flying into Las Vegas?
It is not.
Okay, that's...
And I fly to Las Vegas a lot.
Okay, thank you.
You know,
Ms.
and
Bristol.
Congresswoman, that's why I answered that question that way. I never had any doubt that we would not be able to provide that capability. And we'll make a determination if the prototype can come online at that facility, but regardless, it will not impact in the least, and certainly it's not a safety issue. At the same time this month, we expect to award the contract for the production system of that electronic flight strip capability. And so only a few facilities will have the prototype, and they'll be the first ones to be replaced when we roll the production system out into the future.
And are you listening to the air traffic controllers as you look at that prototype with any problems that they may have with it?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Yeah, we are working together on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Rinaldi, I'm shocked